Interesting. Thought-provoking. Relevant. Conversations that matters the most. Let's talk beyond the basics.
When people talk about happiness, they talk about it like it's a destination, something you arrive at once you have fixed everything, achieved everything, or finally made time for yourself. But happiness isn't a destination. It's a way of living through each phase of life. And I want to talk about that today, especially for people after age 50 and for the young adults watching them. Because what we model is what we teach. I've noticed something interesting happens to people after 50. They start living in reverse. They replay their 20s and 30s like old film reels, convinced that the happiness they want now is hidden somewhere in the scenes they never got to act out. Psychologists call this nostalgia bias. Nostalgia bias is a tendency to overinterpret the positive aspects of the past. It's believing that the past was better than the present, even when it wasn't. Too much nostalgia can cause stagnation, comparison, and dissatisfaction, and even become escapism, leading to avoidance from the current problems and situations. Although many love nostalgia, remember it has a dark side too. But here's the truth I've learned from my own life. I had a career, I had a family, I raised children, I carried responsibilities just like everyone else. But I lived through those phases while I was in them. I didn't postpone my joy, I didn't wait for a better time, I didn't save my life for later. My life wasn't flawless, it was far from it. It was messy, imperfect, beautiful, and real. But I was awake for all of it, fully present, fully alive in every moment, even the hard ones. And because of that, I don't feel nostalgic. I feel complete in those chapters, and I'm now genuinely excited for the next phase in my life. I'm not being judgmental here, just stating that my life was simply a different way of living. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. As people age, I'm seeing many are drifting towards cult like adulthood. I'm not talking about literal cults, but I'm talking about the patterns. Following traditions more seriously without questioning, copying how others live, becoming rigid, losing individuality, repeating things like, this is how it's always been, and shrinking themselves into roles instead of expanding into identity. Sociologists call this identity foreclosure, when adults stop exploring who they are and they simply adopt the identity handed to them. But here's where I speak from my experience. I didn't want to become that adult. I didn't want to lose my individuality. I didn't want to shrink into a version of myself that was convenient for others. So I kept evolving, I kept learning, I kept questioning, and I kept living. And that's why I'm not nostalgic. I'm simply being present. And many adults around me don't understand this, and they think I'm different or unusual for not wanting to relive the past. But the truth is very simple. I already lived it the first time. So, what is happiness really? Let's get factual for a moment. Harvard's 85-year study on adult development shows happiness is not pleasure, happiness is not comfort, happiness is not the absence of struggle. They are explaining that happiness is meaning, happiness is connection, and happiness is growth. Now, let's try to make this clearer through an analogy. Okay, think of happiness like a shadow. If you chase it, it moves away. If you walk towards something meaningful, your shadow follows you. So, meaning first, happiness second. So, what is happiness as connection? What does it mean? Let's try to explore it a little deeper. Most people, when they hear the word connection, they immediately start thinking of other people, like friendships, relationships, community. But the deepest form of connection, the one that actually shapes happiness, is the connection you have with yourself. Not the self you perform for the world, not the self shaped by roles or expectations, the self you meet when everything is quiet. Connection is knowing who you are, your values, your boundaries, your rhythms, and being able to stand in that truth without needing external validation. It's the inner steadiness that comes from understanding yourself, not from being understood by others. And when you have that kind of connection, you stop chasing happiness in the outside world. You stop searching for it in nostalgia. You stop believing that joy is something you missed. You realize happiness grows from alignment, from living in a way that matches who you are. And this is where my own life experience shapes my perspective. I lived each phase of my life with presence. I didn't abandon myself while raising a family or building a career. I didn't lose my identity and responsibility. I didn't wait for a future version of myself to start living. I stayed connected to who I was, even in the busiest seasons. That's why I'm not nostalgic. Not because everything was perfect, but because I was present for my own life. Connection to self is what makes each chapter feel complete. It's what makes the future feel open instead of frightening. So, when I say happiness is connection, I mean the connection that begins within, the kind that keeps you grounded, authentic, and moving forward. The danger of chasing happiness. When people directly chase happiness, three things happen. They become addicted to short term highs, they compare constantly, they feel like they're always behind. But when you chase meaning, something different happens. You grow, you evolve, you struggle, but the struggle and challenge feels worth it. You experience happiness as a byproduct. Have you observed that the deepest joy experience often comes as an after effect? Like after raising a child, after building something, after healing, after learning. So remember, happiness without meaning is entertainment. Happiness with meaning is fulfillment. If you are over 50, here's what I want to say gently. Your life is not behind you. Your originality is not behind you. Your joy is not behind you. You don't need to recreate your 20s. You just need to reclaim your curiosity. I'm not speaking from theory. I'm living this. I'm not nostalgic because I'm not done. I'm not stuck in the past because I'm building the next chapter, and you can too. Be the adult who learns, questions, evolves, thinks independently, and lives intentionally. This is the example the next generation needs. And for the young listening, don't wait until 50 to realize that happiness isn't something you chase. Remember that it's something you create by living each stage with honesty and depth. Don't follow scripts, don't inherit identities, don't let nostalgia become your future. Live now so you don't have to relive later. So, what is happiness? Happiness isn't satisfaction because satisfaction fades, it's temporary. But happiness is something that builds or grows over time, it's cumulative. Happiness is the quiet confidence that you have lived your life with a meaning, not perfectly, not fearlessly, but authentically. And the good news is you can start today at any age in any chapter because happiness isn't something you find, it's something you grow.